Works well with your face.
But that's it.
Everybody would think you're a very gentleman. But we know better.
Oh yes, we know better.
Allegation.
This is not an allegation. You are here, so it's not an allegation. Well, if you have any issue with that, you have a chance to
go to court.
To go to court. We will come.
This nation, Ukraine said, now everything's go to court too.
Go. Go. We'll come. We'll find out whether we have harmed you in any way.
You.
Technically.
No, so no, I think it works very well for you. It works very well. The suit not too bad. The shirt interesting. But I'm doing all this to inspire somebody to wear suit. I won't mention any names yet.
Uncle Ebo, can I help you?
Yes, go ahead.
Where's Sammy Odam?
Oh,
is he your inspiration?
Have you mentioned the name?
No.
Is he your inspiration?
No, I see that this message is directed at Sammy Odam.
That's what you think.
It's not to me. Uncle Ebo has seen me wearing suit before.
I haven't.
So I'm taking myself out of it.
I haven't.
And I push it somewhere else. Oh, you haven't? You saw me during elections time in suit.
Winston, you're too clever for yourself. Well, good morning to everybody. This weekend is the streaming of my play, God, You Are Fired. Winston gave you the details. Yeah. You can call us on 050-554-6010, or you can WhatsApp us on 050-554-6030. Join us. Get a ticket for your father. This is for your father, and if possible, watch it with your father so the two of you can have something to bond over on this Father's Day. Show your love for your father. Get your father to watch God, You Are Fired. Listen, on Thursday, I started a 2-part series on the man's code. That is, the unwritten rules men live by. You will not find these rules written anywhere, but if you do not know them, you will not get the best of any man. Or worse, you will make an enemy of a man for life. On Thursday, I had time for only 3 of these rules. This morning, I conclude with 3 more.
Okay.
Here we go. So that becomes rule number 4. If I kill an elephant and I don't get praised for it, don't expect me to kill an antelope. In other words, if you don't appreciate what a man does, don't expect him to do more. Men thrive on admiration and appreciation. A man does not do anything except to get recognized or praised for it. And when a man gets praised or appreciated for any action of his, he does more to get more praise. We never get tired of admiration and praises. But when a man does not get the praise or the appreciation he expects for something he does, he will stop doing it altogether. So for instance, it is your birthday. Your man takes you out to a restaurant. Don't complain about the food in the restaurant. Don't complain about the choice of the restaurant. And don't ask him why he did not give you the money instead. First, go ahead and heap praises on him for remembering the birthday and taking you out. If you don't do that, it will be the last time he celebrates your birthday for you. But if you praise him, you can be sure that your next birthday will be celebrated in a classier restaurant, and you would also get the money you have been asking for. It is a simple rule for men. And it says that even if you have to bash me, find something to praise and appreciate me for first, or you will get nothing from me. That's the man's code. And that takes us to rule number 5. If you are a woman, don't let me think that you are bossing me around or dominating me. There's one fear in men, and it is to find themselves in a situation where they are being dominated or being bossed around by a woman, be she his mother, his boss, his girlfriend, or his wife. Men have a default programming to resist any attempt by any woman to control or to dominate them, or to boss them around. And every man has an inner mechanism that resists that kind of situation. And this mechanism can be triggered even when a woman has no intention of dominating the man with her request. So for instance, asking a man to clear the table after eating can easily trigger the resisting mechanism. Asking a man to go and fill the gas can also trigger it. When the woman in his life asks him to do something, that mechanism is triggered. And the man's first reaction is to ignore it. But if he cannot ignore it, then he has to obscure the fact that he is taking instructions from a woman. The easiest way to do that is for him to decide to do what is required of him in his own time. When he chooses the time to carry out the instructions, he is able to tell himself that he is not being dominated by his woman. So let me use the case of going to fill the gas. Let's say that his wife wakes up on Saturday morning to discover that there is no gas. She comes to her husband, who may be on his phone, checking social media or watching something on his laptop, and says, "Darling, we have no gas. Please go and get us gas." The man had just been instructed by his wife, and his internal resisting mechanism kicks in, and his default reaction is to ignore the instruction. To overcome that, he will have to keep doing what he was doing when the instructions came for some time, say an hour. Then when he gets up to take the cylinder for refill, he doesn't feel that he's obeying the orders from his wife. Unfortunately, whilst he's waiting to fool his resisting mechanism, his wife is frustrated. If she makes the mistake of coming back to him to nag him about it, he may now decide he will not do it at all, or he will carry it out in anger and will not be nice towards her for some time as his way of protesting being pushed around. In that case, the mood in the house will become hostile till he works his anger out of his system. Our grandmothers knew about this internal resisting mechanism of men to obeying the instructions of a woman, and so they developed a way of making men do what was required of them without making the men think that they were being instructed or being asked to do it. They found ways of making men think that they were doing them, the women, a great favor when they carry out the task the women wanted them to do. And they made sure that there was always a reward awaiting the man when he carries out the instructions. And so they got results, and they got a happy man. But this approach requires patience and humility and clever manipulation of the male ego, something the present generation of ladies do not seem to have time for. And that brings me to rule number 6. A man should never show any weakness in anything. A man can be forgiven almost anything among men, but if he shows weakness of any sort, he is not counted among men. Showing strength is a code no man is exempted from. The problem is that no one teaches us what weakness is. And so most of us mistake real strength for weakness, and then we shun it. So for instance, most men will never accept a fault or apologize for anything because it comes across as weakness. And so a lot of men will simply never say they are sorry. And yet, I find that being able to acknowledge a mistake and apologize for it is really a sign of strength. This rule of not showing weakness is also the reason a lot of men cannot show soft emotions like affection. A man may love his wife with all his heart, but to say it with his mouth is seen as a sign of weakness. And so most men keep how much they love their women inside. It is the same thing with showing affection for children. Most fathers cannot hug their children or express how much they love them, especially when the children are no longer small. Again, they do not want to come across as weak. This rule of not showing weakness of any kind is also the reason a man cannot open up fully to his woman and make himself vulnerable to her. He cannot acknowledge that anything is bothering him because that is a sign of weakness. This rule in the man's code is responsible for a lot of misunderstanding and confusion men experience in their relationships. It is also the cause of the early death of a lot of men. A lot of women who think their husbands do not love them will be shocked if they could open the hearts of their husbands to find how much love they have for them. A lot of children will be shocked at how much love their fathers have for them and how proud they are of them, if only the men could open their mouths and talk. But as long as this rule of not showing weakness exists, men will continue to struggle with the burden of not showing any soft emotions. So those are the 6 unwritten rules that men play by. You realize that a lot of these unwritten rules are not peculiar to only men. Women also have their own versions of these rules. So maybe they are not as much men's code as they are human code.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think?
Well, they may just be human codes, but I mean the bit about man not showing weakness, and
Yes.
You made reference to even saying "I love you" to their wives.
Oh, it's difficult.
So I remember one day we asked our father, "Have you said I love you to our mother?" And he said, "Nanya ringi no shemi."
So she should know.
You should know.
She should know.
I can't. I say her ring no shemi no.
Eh.
And the ring no shemi.
And the situation hasn't changed. As long as she's wearing the ring.
He's wearing the ring. It means it's
the
same
situation
thing.
hasn't changed.
It hasn't changed. But saying it becomes very difficult. I get you. Thank you very much. Uncle
Because
Bo.
don't show weakness.
Yeah.
You dare not show weakness.
And as men, when we go home, our mothers are ever willing to give us a hug. Our fathers are just eating.
No. Meanwhile, he may be happier to see you.
Exactly. In my case, my father's the one who said, "Won't you come and see your mother?"
When he is missing you.
When he wants to have a discussion with you. So when you go home, is that I mean, I go home and I only get to talk to my mother like say 15 minutes.
And the rest of the time is with him.
It's with him.
Yeah. But he will not say that, son, come home, I've missed you.
No.
Because that would be a sign of weakness.
That would be a sign of weakness. I agree with you. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Uncle Bo. I know there are many of you men who are, who've decided not to show any sign of weakness because it's more like the unwritten code. Anyway, time now for the Joy Business Minute. It's brought to us by Consolidated Bank Ghana, CBG. We stand with you.
Hello, welcome to the Joy Business Minute. It is brought to you by Consolidated Bank Ghana. We stand with you. Government has been able to clear almost all the energy sector debts